Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Chan Lau is a personal trainer, coach and property investor. He likes to do different kinds of networking depending on which business he's networking for. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast today, Chan.
Thanks very much for having me, Liz. Just looking forward to this.
Now, you're into all sorts of things, personal training, coaching, property. It's quite a mixture, but let's just have a dig into your background first. So, where are you and what did you want to be when you were at school?
So I'm from sunny Scotland, also known as Chinese Scotsman, and I do a lot of speaking, but it was never like that before. It was when I grew up, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm quite good hands-on with like labouring kind of stuff, and I still am. I'm a big DIY fanatic. Looking back, I wish I had focused on that more because now I've fell into property and getting kitchens fitted and everything else. I can still do it, but it seems to be a big demand on joiners and builders, and I thought, well, maybe I should have spent a bit more time on that. But yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I love my cars, so I think at the time I had to decide whether or not to do something to do with cars or to do with something else, and I ended up getting involved with cars, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, but oh well.
And I believe that when you were at school you were bullied, is that right?
Yes, so I was bullied in school. I don't know, it was a mixture of everything. It was because I was Chinese, but I was also overweight, and the bullies just obviously want something to do, and I just so happened to be the wrong place at the wrong time, and that carried on for a couple of years. And I just lost all my confidence. I didn't want to do anything, take part in any school activities, and going back onto the speaking, I remember coming back from the summer holidays and my English teacher asked the class to just write a brief 5-10 minutes of what you did over the summer. And I remember that's when I started to get nervous and sweat, and I was like, oh my God, I need to stand in front of the class and talk about what I'd done in the summer. And I wish I'd just got up and done it, but I was overthinking, and I was thinking, I just stood up and I was literally repeating the same sentence over and over again for probably about 2 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours, and it was so uncomfortable and everyone could see it, and it just haunted me for a long time. And to cut a long story short, that was that. And then when I decided to become a personal trainer, this was 12 years ago, so I was 30 years old. Bear in mind, when I was doing this talk in the summer, I was 12 years old. So 18 years had went by, and I had to stand up to take a class in the gym. And all these emotions came back. I was shaking, I was nervous, I was sweating, I was stuttering my words, I was making mistakes, and that is when I realised the only way I'm going to get better at this if I keep practising and keep practising. Just like anything else that I've done throughout that 18 years was like driving or going to the gym and train. If you don't know or you're not confident, it's just practice. So I've came a long way, but that still haunts me till this day. So I've always looked at it and going, right, I need to pivot or persevere and just keep going.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that story that you've just told. I remember when I was at school, I would rather die than stand up in front of my class and speak. I absolutely hated public speaking, and now I love it. It's great that you've been able to turn that around and now that's kind of one of your strengths. I know is public speaking. So tell me about the gym. How you got into that?
So again, it goes back down to the school days when I was bullied, and what actually happened was I was the youngest in my year in school, so I wasn't allowed to leave at the age of 16 until officially into the next year.
Right.
All the bullies by then turned 16 and they had left school.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, these bullies weren't my day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And I felt I had this freedom. I had this freedom to talk whenever I feel like it, do whatever I want. And I started taking part in physical activity. Before that, I always made an excuse that I wasn't able to take part because I was just felt so uncomfortable getting changed and taking part and so on. But when I had this sense of freedom, I was taking part in badminton, basketball, football, and I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight to the point where I was taking part in the basketball school team.
Yeah.
I was taking part in athletics, and the more exercise, the more the confident I felt. The more confident I felt, I went to the mindset side of it, where if I can apply this to that, then I could get a better result. So this is where it all kind of started, and I guess I was taking part in a football team on a Sunday, and then I wasn't getting a game. So instead of sitting on the bench for 90 minutes, I decided to join the gym to keep my activity levels high, because I was obviously chasing the endorphins that I get from physical activity, and that helped with my mental health. So that's how it began, and I've been training consistently through all the jobs that I've had, whether it be a taxi driver where I'm sitting for long hours in the car to make sure I still get this physical activity in the gym. And then it wasn't until when I became a personal trainer at 30 years old, so that was only 14 years ago, when I was in Australia, and I'd get rid of the taxi business because I felt it was a dead-end job, and I just felt I'm worth more than just driving the weekends, picking up the drunks and getting them home. So I'm talking to a couple of personal trainers in Australia. They said, look, listen, everybody in Australia's got a personal trainer, so it's not like you're not going to make any money. Everyone's got a personal trainer, no matter who you are. So I came home, I did my level 2 and 3 gym instructor course and personal training course with the intention of booking my flights going back to Australia.
Yeah.
But then I bumped into my friend who was the assistant manager of a big gym in the UK, and he said, listen, we're looking for a personal trainer to start tomorrow.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I believe in fate.
Yeah.
It just so happened that I bumped into him in the street and went along for the interview, got the job, and then, like I said, 14 years later, I've left the gym now and I've got my own place. I've had my own place for 13 years now.
Yeah.
But the way it's happened, it's just, I was successful right from the start because everyone knew I was a gym fanatic.
Yeah.
And it's really just now implying that knowledge onto everyone else, and that's where I guess the confidence comes from, in terms of teaching people how to keep fit and healthy, but also the mindset stuff as well, how to think healthy as well.
Yeah. So how did the personal training then lead to you becoming a coach for, like you say, mindset and other things?
Because when a client comes into me, I see them 1 hour, that duration, but it's not just about that 1 hour you do with me in the gym. It's about the 23 hours that day, but it's also all the hours that week. If I see someone once a week, then I need to know what they did throughout the other days that they didn't see me. So then it went from that to talking about, right, what did you do the weekend? Did you get enough sleep? How's the work? How's the stress at work? And everything else, like how's family life? How's your love life? It became a all-round counselling session, if you know what I mean. And then it just went from that to going, right, listen, see, we just take one thing at a time. Let's pick something that you can change that will dramatically change your mood today. And then that's what we did. We started picking off bit by bit, and then we started overcoming all these obstacles that generally people feel overwhelmed because they've got maybe 2, 3 things to do. And instead of just burying their head in the sand, always get them to tackle one at a time, let it be, writing it down and just scoring it off one by one, and then you feel just a whole weight off your shoulders. And
Yeah.
that's how it came about, really. Yeah.
So who are your clients? Are they a particular demographic? Are they men or women, or particular age group?
So before COVID, it was generally mums. So I'm building out an online course just now for mums that want to drop a dress size.
Yeah.
But now after COVID, it's a mixture of all walks of life. And during COVID, or sorry, before COVID, everybody wanted to lose weight.
Yeah.
And then after COVID, everybody just wanted to feel good.
Yeah.
Mental health side of it, they didn't really care about how they looked. How they looked was a byproduct.
Yeah.
It's more how they felt. They want to be confident in their favourite jeans, their favourite dress, or in a bikini, and they just wanted to feel the endorphins after training. So now I've got students, I've got lawyers, I've got mums, I've got dads, I've got a lot of professionals that maybe sit down in front of a computer all day, work
Yeah.
from home. So yeah, a mixture of all different types of people.
Yeah. And so what do you do for your clients? What would a typical session entail?
Well, everyone's goals are different, but the fundamentals is strength. The stronger you are, the more your body and your joints tend to be a lot more robust. You want to be strong and healthy. You want to look at your mobility. You don't want to be like getting older and then having to rely on, say, a walking stick, or your hips may be gone and you will need to, for instance, get a hip operation, that kind of thing. So it's looking at mobility is really the main thing, strength and mobility. But people still come in and they want to use, I've got a program called the Fitter, Faster, Stronger. And that is a mixture of high intensity cardio stuff to get the heart rate up, because that's obviously one of the most important organs of the body. And then the muscles and the strength is really just looking after them just for the longevity of moving. Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading something the other day about lifespan, and this article was saying that that's not the important thing. What's the important thing is your health span. It's how long you can stay fit and healthy.
Yeah. I've got a lawyer client who is 64, I think he is now. But he came to me, he was basically my first client. He was 50. I remember him turning 50 when he came to see me, and he's still training till this day with me. That's been like 14 years now, and he's probably the strongest and the fittest 64-year-old I know. And a lot of people still say to him, like the public will say, "Oh, you look nowhere near 64," just because of his training.
Yeah, that's great. So how many clients do you tend to work with at any one time?
I don't really have. It's more about how many hours. I cap my hours to about 30 hours a week. 38 hours a week is a healthy number, because it is, because I focus so much on the client, it takes a lot of energy. So I just make sure I'm in tip top. I make sure I give the best quality service possible when I see my clients. So I cap it at 30, and that's the reason I'm breaking into the online, so I can get a more kind of outreach.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know something else that you're interested in is the public speaking. So where do you like to speak, and what do you speak about?
So I've spoke a few times already with a couple of business coaches in Glasgow, in my local area, and one was why health is wealth. So it's talking to a lot of business owners, CEOs, and the ones that are at this networking. And I was a guest speaker to talk about why you should be looking after your health, or you're not going to be healthy enough to look after the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just really kind of going through and targeting the CEOs, and hopefully they'll get me in to speak to HR or managers to
Yeah.
try and enforce that kind of idea onto the employees.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great message that you've got to spread there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So the other thing that I mentioned at the top is something else that you're into is property. So tell me a bit about that business.
Yeah, so property, I started in property in 2008, and I didn't have any education, so I made big mistakes, like big mistakes that I'll learn from, and I got out of property in 2011. So in property for 3 years, made mistakes, I got out, and it wasn't too bad, but I've always looked at that as the future for me because of the passive income. And when I made the mistakes and I got out, I thought, right, I will never make it in property. And that's when I fell into the personal training.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I turned 40, and I was thinking, can I be on the gym floor when I'm 50 or when I'm 60? Can I be doing the hours and that kind of stuff? And what can I do to just keep my future secured?
Yeah.
So I decided to look into property again, and this time I got a coach. So I got educated this time,
Yeah.
and I understand what went wrong in the past. And I'm now, the last 3 years, I've been building up funds and investing into property. And I think if I get enough to replace the gym, then it'll allow me to go online and promote the health and fitness side of it online, but
Yeah.
also do more public speaking as well.
Yeah. So let's have a chat about networking now then. How do you like to network for your business?
Oh, I love networking. I love networking. A lot of people say that I'm an extrovert, but I feel I'm a bit of both. I like going out, and I like just listening to other people's journey, let it be health and fitness, or let it be property, or let it be just business in general, because the way I look at it is your fitness journey and your business journey, both of them are almost running identical. Do you mean, like, if you've got a physical goal and you've got a business goal, you've still got to imply the same structure to be successful.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm doing the speaking and I'm connecting the two together. It's all about implying the knowledge into fitness as well into business, and getting this kind of outcome. So with the networking, I speak to everyone, and I've made very good contacts from doing that, whether it is online networking or face-to-face networking.
Yeah. And do you attend different kinds of network depending on whether you're doing something with the coaching and the PT or property?
Yeah. So when I network at a property networking, then I really talk about the property, but I sometimes talk about the fitness, because no matter who you are, you need to be fit and healthy.
Yeah.
So I always try and drop that in there, because the best case scenario for me is a property investor wants my services in the gym, then I catch the two of them together,
Yeah.
and that's a dream for me. Yeah. So I talk about both, but I was involved in a breakfast networking. I guess this is every Friday. It was
Yeah.
breakfast club, and I was there under the property category, and it helped me with the structure of your 45-second elevator pitch.
Yeah.
and who your ideal referral would be for your business, and so it's structured in a way where it's short but very impactful. So this is where I'm implying this on everywhere I go, just so it means I'm not really wasting too much time.
Yeah. And so what do you find that you get from the networking?
I get a bit of both. Some people inspire me, and I inspire others. I would like to think that I inspire others. The people that I meet maybe are not as far on or not as knowledgeable as me will always ask me questions. So when they ask you questions, they know that you're interested.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that I've at least helped one person, and that's one of my goals, is to at least help one person a day.
Yeah, that's a great goal. And I guess, if you're in a room where you're a bit more knowledgeable than the others, you're the expert in the room, aren't you then?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I've never ever classed myself as an expert, but I know what you mean, yeah, because when I'm doing my digital marketing and whether it's the property stuff, because you know a bit more, you're classed as an expert, so yeah.
So why would you recommend networking to other small business owners?
Because you just never know who you meet that can help you or further on in their journey than you, to sort of help you. And it's always the kind of engaging aspect of it as well. A lot of people are maybe working on their own and they never actually speak to anyone until they go to these networking events. So it's good for building relationships.
Yeah, definitely. So my last question then, Chan, if people want to know more about you or your business, what's the best place for them to find you?
I have a LinkedIn page, Chan Lau, ChanLau, and I've got an Instagram page with the same name as well. And on the profile, I'll have the links of my gym and my property website as well. So yeah, I've got both. I don't use social media as much as I should, but both the stuff are on there, LinkedIn and Instagram.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for being my guest. I've really enjoyed chatting to you.
Thanks very much, Liz. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.